the discipline to being able to do what it takes to live a healthy lifestyle. It's hard going to the gym 5 or 6 times a week. It's hard going to sleep early every day. It's hard waking up early every day. It's hard going and lifting weights or running on the elliptical or on the treadmill. And it's hard to do that for months or years at a time. Anybody can go to the gym one time or for a week or for a month or a couple of months, but to do it day in and day out, that requires a certain level of discipline. Welcome to Street Leadership, where grit meets grace and ambition meets action. I'm your host, Ryan Goldman, diving deep into the stories that shape today's leaders. Get ready to be inspired, challenged, and transformed. Let's lead the way together. Welcome to Street Leadership with myself, Ryan Goldman. And today I just wanted to kind of talk about the correlation between health and fitness and business success. We all have this desire to become the most elite version of ourselves. And for a lot of people, it really depends on what your definition of success is. But a lot of people define, success as kind of like a monetary version of it, right? Of how much money they're earning and in their career. And part of that is they don't take into consideration like the physical aspect of success and how that plays a role into a successful life or a life well lived. And I just kind of wanted to share my experience since I've kind of been on both sides of the spectrum. And when I started in the business, I was started in door-to-door sales. I was 22 years old, and I wasn't really taking very good care of myself. But I was really, really good at sales, and I was willing to put the work in and outwork the people around me. And so, with sheer will, force, and just being willing to do what other people wouldn't do, I was able to experience a monetary success at a relatively young age. And by the time I was 24 years old, I was earning $100,000 a year. And part of that was because I was good at selling and I was good at dealing with people. And so I got put into a leadership position fairly early on and got the opportunity to start managing people and to help them in their journey. And as a result of that, I was able to get paid more. What I realized though is the best year that I had in income was $250,000. It was actually $226,000 was my biggest earning year. And on average, it was somewhere between, 150 to $200,000 on average for almost 9 years. Part of that was because I had also a lot of bad habits, and when you're in door-to-door sales, there's kind of this certain lifestyle that you adopt, and part of that is, eating fast food, not really getting a whole lot of sleep, partying on the weekends, drugs, alcohol, and all of these things that really weren't adding a lot of value into my life. And so, at the time I was still smoking cigarettes, so, every time I'd write a sale, I'd be smoking a cigarette on the block. And what I realized then was, I was experiencing a certain level of success for the people in my age group. And, earning a six-figure income is by most people's stretch pretty good. But I knew that there was always like another level. And for the longest time, my goal had been to earn $10,000 in a week. And I was never able to achieve that goal for the entire 9 years up to that point, even though it had been a goal for since like my third year in the business was $10,000 in a week, $10,000 in a week. And it seemed like no matter what I would do, I could never really break through that barrier. COVID happened in 2020, and what happened was they shut down all in-person solicitations in Illinois. And so our business was essentially like closed. And so that was a couple months before was when I had decided to get sober. And so during COVID, there wasn't really anything else to do. We weren't working. And so I really made a commitment to trying to focus on just becoming the best version of myself. And like I said, I had a spiritual experience, where I felt like God had spoke to me and told me everything in my life would get better if I just got better. And so I started to apply that to every area of my life, not just in sobriety. Not only was I sober, but I started going to the gym. I started trying to be conscious of what I was putting into my body. I quit smoking cigarettes. And so, around when COVID happened, I was probably close to 250, 260 pounds. And by the end of it, I dropped down to, almost 200 pounds. So I lost about 50 or 60 pounds during that time frame of just really having the discipline of going to the gym and spending a lot of time on the elliptical and didn't necessarily have like the best guidance in what I was doing, but I was doing something which was absolutely better than nothing. And as a result of that, when we got to finally come back after COVID, I was in a totally different mindset. I didn't have all of the vices that I'd had before. I wasn't drinking, I wasn't doing drugs, I wasn't smoking pot, I wasn't smoking cigarettes. I was prioritizing my sleep, and so I was doing all of these things to add value back into my life. And as a result of that, the business exploded. And my first full year back after COVID earned over $1 million. And so I was able to more than quadruple my income from my best year during my basically the first full year back after we had been shut down and we're starting from scratch. And to me, I believe 100% that was because I was aligned, spiritually, mentally, and physically. And to me, there is a huge correlation. When you remove all of the toxic things from your life, you allow yourself to grow in the ways that you were meant to. It creates more opportunity for you to be able to do what you were called to be able to do. And all of those things are just limiting things that were holding me back, the drinking, the partying, eating fast food all the time. I mean, all of those things like we know are fundamentally not good for us, but we don't always prioritize ourselves or our health in the way that we should. But there is a direct correlation to just having the discipline to being able to do what it takes to live a healthy lifestyle. It's hard going to the gym 5 or 6 times a week. It's hard going to sleep early every day. It's hard waking up early every day. It's hard going and lifting weights or running on the elliptical or on the treadmill. And it's hard to do that for months or years at a time. Anybody can go to the gym one time or for a week or for a month or a couple of months, but to do it day in and day out, that requires a certain level of discipline. And what that does is that discipline starts to show up in every area of your life. And so for me, fundamentally, I think that was what I was missing in the beginning is I was willing to do the work, but I didn't have the same levels of energy. I didn't have the discipline to do exactly what I needed to do all the time, whether I felt like it or didn't feel like it. And so all of that led to a completely different results. And for me, that was earning seven figures in the business. And not only that, but being in the best physical shape of my life, having the best quality relationships I've ever had in my life, being the most fit spiritually, mentally. All of those things are tied together in becoming that greatest version of you. And that's really what it's about. It's not about just a monetary success. And the monetary success is great, being able to do more than just have to pay your bills and just live paycheck to paycheck. Nobody wants to struggle that way for forever, even though some of us have to go through that for a period of time. But the end result is to get to the point where you're not struggling that way. And as you get yourself aligned mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, that's when that best version of yourself starts to manifest and starts to come out. And then you get to see it in all aspects of your life and not just in the financial realm, not just by earning money, but just living a better quality life. And once again, it's not to say that you can't be successful and be unhealthy, because you can, and there's tons of people who are experiencing a certain level of success even though they're maybe not making the best choices for their health. I would also say that they're not living up to their fullest potential either. And that's really what it comes down to is you might be up here in your finances right now, but if you got your health under control, you might be even higher. And that's ultimately what it comes down to is like where do you really want to take this opportunity that you have in life? And when you look back on your life, do you want to look back on it and say, man, there was more that I could have given and more that I could have done. And you owe it to the people that you love and care about to be that best version of you and to show up. For me, I mean, one of the biggest driving forces was, my dad died when I was 20 and my mom just passed away. And, my kids never got to meet my dad, their grandpa. Neither of my parents will get to be at my wedding. And that kind of stuff really breaks my heart, and I don't wanna put my kids through that. And so for me, there's a bigger why attached to it. It's really more about the people that I love and care about, and I wanna be able to show up and be the best version of myself for them, to be there for them when they need me, and be able to just live the best life that I can. And that's what God put us here to do, is to be an example. And the best investment that you can make is the one into you. And that's not just into your mind, but also into your body and into your spirit and into your soul. And as you become that best version of you, it allows you to be able to make a bigger impact on the world and help more people around you. So that's my 2 cents on it, kind of the correlation between health and fitness and success. And it's not to say that you can't be successful while still being unhealthy and unfit. But I think ultimately, the first level of mastery is mastering yourself. And if you can master yourself physically, it makes you realize you can master pretty much anything else in your life. And as a result of that, you're going to live a better life and be able to make a bigger impact on this world. So I hope you got something from that, and I'll see you on the next episode.